Okay, so let's begin. Although I think not everybody has come. Okay, so today's talk in the seminar will be delivered by Alain Guimaraes from the Federal University of Rio Grande do Norte, and he will speak about the characterization of the natural Z2 grading of the Grassmann algebra. So, Alain, please come in.
Okay, Fernando, thank you for your introduction. It's a pleasure for me to be here in this seminar. I would like to thank the organizer for the opportunity. Okay, the main goal of this talk is to present a theorem that gives a characterization for the natural Z2 grading of the Grassmann algebra in terms of its Z2 graded polynomial identity. So let's go. First of all, the schedule is here. We start with some basic concepts. In the second moment, I will present the result related to superalgebra structure and the Grassmann algebra. I will give an overview about this topic. In the third moment, I will present the main result of this talk that I obtained joint work with Claudemir Fidelis, Unicamp, Alexandre Grishkov, USP, and Ana Beatriz, UFCG. And I will finish with some reference. Okay. Here, F denotes a field of characteristics different from two. Okay, L is an infinite dimensional vector space. E denotes the infinite dimensional Grassmann algebra. We recall that this algebra admits this natural base here, okay? And the multiplication in the Grassmann algebra is induced by this rule here. Okay. Grassmann algebra is fundamental in many fields of the science, for example, in differential geometry, in physics, in analysis. In the context of the K-means theory, the Grassmann algebra has a special rule in order to give a positive answer to the SPAT problem. Moreover, this algebra has a natural generalization, which are the so-called Clifford algebras. Okay, we can start with the Grassmann algebra E, the algebra E. Then you can replace its product. You can put the Jordan product, and you get the Jordan algebra. And also you can put the Lie product, and you get the Lie algebra. But in these two cases, these two algebras are, in fact, associative algebras. On the other hand, in the last month, in this seminar, Vincenzo Nardosa presented results related to derivation of the Grassmann algebra, which is a non-associative Lie algebra. It means that the Grassmann algebra it also appear in non-associative setting. Okay. First, I need to introduce this definition here. We take an algebra A. We say that the Z2 gradient on this algebra is in the composition of A, like this, satisfying this condition. X subspace is called the homogeneous component of this gradient, okay? During this talk, Z2 gradient and superalgebra have the same meaning, okay? The subspace A0 is called the even component of the gradient, and the subspace E1 is called the odd component of the gradient. Moreover, a non-zero vector X in the subspace AR is called the homogeneous of degree R, and we use this notation here just to indicate that the vector X belongs to the subspace AR. So, in this talk, Z2 graded algebra and superalgebra have the same meaning. Okay, consider now two superalgebras A and B, and F an isomorphism of algebra. That is, F is a linear transformation which preserves the product of this algebra. We say that these two superalgebras A and B are isomorphic superalgebras if F preserves its homogeneous component. That is, the subspace 0 is sent by F to the subspace 0, and the subspace 1 is sent by F to the subspace 1. In this case, we use this notation here to indicate that A and B are isomorphic superalgebras. Okay, in ring theory, a classical problem is exactly to do this. Given an algebra A, try to describe all possible grading for this algebra. It has been studied for many mathematicians in many situations, okay? In general, this is a hard problem. I can cite the mathematicians Baturin, Zaitsev, Velduc, Kochetov, and others. This type of investigation is usual in the ring theory, and in general is a hard problem. Okay, example one. Every algebra A admit at least this grading here, the trivial grading. You consider the subspace A0 as the whole algebra A, and the subspace 1 as being the subspace 0. it's easy to see that this type of decomposition is a Z2 gradient on this algebra, and you call it trivial superalgebra of A. The second example is this. You consider the matrix algebras of R2, and you define the first subspace A0 as being the subspace generated by diagonal matrix, and the subspace A1 as the subspace generated by secondary diagonal matrix. It's also easy to see this type of decomposition is a Z2 gradient on this algebra, and is an important gradient on the matrix algebra. Now you return to the Grassmann algebra. In that, you define two subspaces. The subspace E0 is that subspace generated by all monomial of even length, and the subspace E1 is the subspace generated by all monomial of odd length. Okay? These two subspaces provide a Z2 gradient on the Grassmann algebra. We use this notation to indicate this Z2 gradient here. Okay? And this structure is called a natural or canonical Z2 gradient on the Grassmann algebra. We call attention that in this decomposition, each generator is homogeneous of degree 1, okay? That is, each generator belongs to the subspace E1. Is a classical theorem in PI theory that over a field of characteristic 0, every PI algebra is PI equivalent to an envelope Grassmann for a finite-dimensional superalgebra, okay? This theorem actually point out the relevance of the Grassmann algebra in PI theory. Okay, in this talk, this algebra here is the polynomial algebra, okay? In this case, you have two types of variable. The variable I are that of degree 0, and the variable z are that of degree 1, okay? So, in this talk, when I talk about polynomial, I'm referring to this kind of polynomial, Z2 graded polynomial that have variable of degree 0, y, and variable of degree 1, z. Now, we are able to define the notion of Z2 graded polynomial identity. We first start with a superalgebra A here, and you say that the polynomial f is a Z2 graded polynomial identity for the superalgebra, f if is 0 for under all admissible substitution. That is, we replace variable of degree 0 by elements of degree 0, variable of degree 1 by elements of degree 1, and this kind of evaluation is always 0. In this case, we say that f is a Z2 graded polynomial identity for the superalgebra A, right? Okay, now it makes sense to define this set here, T2A. Given a superalgebra A, we define this set, which is formed by all Z2 graded polynomial identity for the superalgebra A. This set is easy to see. That is an ideal of the polynomial algebra, and moreover, this set is invariant all Z2 graded endomorphism of the polynomial algebra. And in PI theory is an important problem try to describe generator for this ideal, okay? It is an important problem in PI theory, and you are interested in this. Moreover, we take two superalgebras A and B. We say that these two superalgebras are PI equivalent if they satisfy the same polynomial identity. It's easy to see that if you have isomorphism superalgebra, this structure are PI equivalent. But in general, the converse of this is not true. Okay, example. If you consider the natural Z2 gradient on the Grassmann algebra, it's easy to see this superalgebra satisfies these two identities here. Because in the natural Z2 gradient, the red part is the center of the Grassmann algebra, okay? And the blue part is the uncommutative part of the Grassmann algebra. In this case, this commutator here is an identity for this structure because you have an even variable here. And moreover, the second polynomial is also an identity for this structure because you have two blue variable here, and the blue part of the Grassmann algebra is anticommutative. Moreover, if the grand field is of characteristic 0, it's easy to see that these two identities are enough to describe all identity for this superalgebra. Okay, a second important problem in PI theory is this. You know that if you have a isomorphic algebra, then this structure I PI equivalent. But what about the converse of this? If you have a PI equivalent algebra, these structures are isomorphic? Well, in general, the answer to this question is no. But in some situation, we can have a positive answer. For example, if you have a finite dimensional central simple algebra of an algebraically closed field of characteristic 0, we have a positive answer. But in general, we don't have a closed answer for this type of question, okay? This type of question is also a hard problem in PI theory. Okay, now I make an overview about the superalgebra structure on the Grassmann algebra. I will present some classical results, I introduce some notation in this moment. First of all, I start with this definition here. We say that the Z2 grading on the Grassmann algebra is a homogeneous grading if each generator of the vector space L is homogeneous in the grading. This kind of structure were well studied by many mathematicians. In 1929, by De Vincenzo e da Silva, when the grand field is of characteristic 0, and 2011 by Lucio Centroni, when the grand field is infinite of positive characteristics, and 2016 by Gonçalves, when the grand field is finite. So, in the terms of the homogeneous Z2 grading on the Grassmann algebra, you know everything. But here we recall this structure, okay? There are three possibilities to homogeneous Z2 grading. The first, we can have finite generator in degree 0 and the order in degree 1. The second possibility is the opposite of the first. We can have finite generator in degree 1 and the order in degree 0. And to finish, you can have infinite generator in degree 0 and infinite generator in degree 1. And this is all possible homogeneous Z2 grading on the Grassmann algebra. And this structure are well understood in the view of the PI theory. But in general, to approach the problem of describing Z2 grading on a given algebra A, you can use this duality here. Every Z2 grading on a given algebra A, any algebra, is related to an automorphism of OR2 action on this algebra. So you can replace our approach. Instead of work with Z2 grading, you can study the respective automorphism of this algebra, okay? This will be our approach from now on. But in general, describe automorphism of a algebra is not an easy problem also, okay? In the case of matrix algebra, we have a good description, okay? For finite dimensional Grassmann algebra, we also have a nice result due to Macaulay-Manov. He gave a complete classification of the automorphism of the Grassmann algebra in the case of finite dimensional, okay? But in general, for the infinite dimensional Grassmann algebra, we don't have a good classification for its automorphism. Okay, so you can focus in this approach here. You can start with an automorphism on a given algebra. From that, we induce a grading, okay? And you can, having the grade, you can try to describe the respective graded identity. This is a classical approach in PI theory. Okay, now we return to the Grassmann algebra, okay? Our approach will be to try to understand what happened with the automorphism of the Grassmann algebra in order to study the respective Z2 grading. We take the automorphism of Fourier at 2, okay? You define the set I, which is formed by all generator of the Grassmann algebra that is stable under the automorphism. There are four possibilities for this set I. This set I can be all the natural number. In this case, is the homogeneous situation, right? Second type, the set I can be infinite but not equal to n. Type 3, this set I can be finite and non-empty. And type 4, this set can be empty for all linear bases of the vector space L. So, in order to study the automorphism of the Grassmann algebra, we split the problem according to these four types, right? Okay, as I said before, type 1 corresponds exactly to the homogeneous Z2 grading on the Grassmann algebra. About that, you know everything in terms of the Z2 graded polynomial identity. In the reference tree, Kozlukov and myself provided a concrete example of automorphism of type 2 and type 3. And in that opportunity, you show that these structures are isomorphic to some structure of type 1. In the same paper, the author were not able to provide example of automorphism of type 4. This question stayed open in that opportunity. Okay, example. We consider this automorphism here on the Grassmann algebra, okay? It's easy to see that this automorphism is of type 1, okay? This induces superalgebra, which is the natural Z2 gradient on the Grassmann algebra. It's easy to check it. The second automorphism is this, the automorphism C. This automorphism, in that, there is just one generator that is homogeneous. So we have an automorphism of type 3. And this automorphism induces a second superalgebra, EPC, right? It turns out that these structures are, in fact, isomorphic superalgebras. You can show that. Okay. So you have an automorphism, a strange automorphism of type 3, and the superalgebra induced by this is isomorphic to the natural Z2 gradient on the Grassmann algebra. Okay, now my goal is to present the result I obtained and enjoyed the work with Claudemir Fidelis, Alexandre Grishkov, and Ana Beatriz. Okay. And the question that motivated this research was that we intended to provide an example of automorphism of type 4. Okay? And we were able to do this. Moreover, as a consequence of this, we gave a complete characterization for the natural Z2 gradient of the Grassmann algebra in terms of its Z2 graded polynomial identity. Actually, what you did was that we were able to give a positive answer to the isomorphism problem in the context of the natural Z2 gradient. Okay? At the end of this talk, I will put the open problem related to this question. We recall here the type of automorphism, okay? Type 1 is this, the set I is n. Type 2, the set I is infinite but not equal to n. Type 3, this set I is finite. And type 4, this set I is empty for all linear base of the vector space L, okay? We have an example. We know everything about type 1. We have example of automorphism of type 2, true. We have example of automorphism of type 3. And type 4, in the first moment, this question stayed open. Okay, we remark that to say that the automorphism is of type 4 is equivalent to this implication here in red. If you take a vector L, in L, okay, which is stable under the automorphism, then this vector is 0. This condition in red is equivalent to say that this automorphism is of type 4. Okay, now we need to do this proposition here, this preliminary proposition. The first is this, just a comment. These three propositions are related to isomorphism problem in the context of the natural Z2 gradient, okay? These propositions are related to the natural Z2 gradient, all these. If you have an automorphism of type 1 and you have pi equivalence, it implies isomorphism. Then type 1 plus pi equivalence implies isomorphism. Proposition 3 is similar to the proposition 1. If you have type 3 and you have pi equivalence to the natural Z2 gradient, it implies isomorphism. And proposition 2 says that if that does not exist, automorphism of type 2 or type 4, such that the respective superalgebra is pi equivalent to the natural Z2 gradient, okay? Or if you prefer, if you have pi equivalence to the natural Z2 gradient, then the automorphism cannot be of type 2 or type 4. This is the context of the proposition 2. You use this in the next result, in the next slide. Okay, here we have this corollary here. We take a automorphism of the Grassmann algebra, automorphism of order etymology 2, and if the respective superalgebra structure is pi equivalent to the natural Z2 gradient, then these structures are isomorphic. That is, this corollary is saying that the isomorphism problem has a positive answer in the context of the natural Z2 gradient. The idea of the proof is simple. We assume that this structure are pi equivalent, okay? By the previous proposition, the automorphism cannot be of type 2 or type 4. So the automorphism has to be of type 1 or type 3. And if you have pi equivalence and type 1 or type 3, it implies isomorphism. This is the idea of the proof. It's a Simple idea, okay? So this theorem gives a complete characterization for the natural Z2 grading of the Grassmann algebra in terms of its Z2 graded polynomial identity. This is a positive answer to the isomorphism problem, okay? In the context of the natural Z2 grading. Okay, next page now. We can improve the previous corollary by means of this theorem here. This theorem is due to Fidelis, Grishkov, Gomes, and myself, and it was published in 2024. We consider an automorphism of the Grassmann algebra of order Timos2, and you consider the induced superalgebra here, okay? The following statements are equivalent. If you have to find out if a superalgebra structure on the Grassmann algebra is isomorphic to the nature of the grading, is enough to check this criteria here. For example, if the superalgebra satisfies this identity here, the double commutator, you can say that this structure is isomorphic to the nature of Z2 gradient. Here, this commutator is formed by two variables. The variable y is a even variable, okay, a variable of degree 0, and the variable x is a variable that can have degree 0 or 1, whatever, okay? And if the superalgebra structure satisfies this identity, it implies this structure is isomorphic to the nature of Z2 gradient. That means that the nature of Z2 gradient is completely determined by its identity here. One more criterion is this here, 3. If the even component of the superalgebra is exactly the center of the Grassmann algebra, it implies this structure is isomorphic to the nature of Z2 gradient, okay? So this theorem works like a criterion that allows us to find out if a superalgebra is or not isomorphic to the nature of Z2 gradient, okay? This is the idea. Now, I intend to construct an example of automorphism of type 4, okay? This construction is due to Alexandre Grishkov, USP. First of all, I have to introduce this definition here, this sequence, okay? We have a sequence epsilon, which is formed by 1 or minus 1 according to the position of the term in the sequence. For example, the first term is 1, the second term is 1, the third term is minus 1, and so on, okay? This sequence has a nice interpretation. But for now, it's just enough to be in mind that the term of the sequence are 1 or minus 1 according to the position of the term in the sequence, right? Okay, now you have this lemma here. The term of the sequence epsilon are related via this rule here, okay? The product of the first 2 and plus 1 terms is equal to the term n with the sign here, okay? The proof of this lemma is complicated. I don't do this here because it's not necessary, but you can show this. The term of the sequence are related via this rule here, okay? From this sequence, we define this linear transformation of the Grassmann algebra, okay? That send EI in this expression in the right here. In this expression, we have the term of the sequence epsilon, the scalar epsilon. We have the generator. You have W. W is just a monomial of odd length, right? So it's, in the first moment, this phi is a linear transformation of the Grassmann algebra, okay? But the images here satisfy this condition in blue. It's easy to see because you have just odd elements here. So we have this relation in blue here. The images are uncommutative. From this, you can extend this linear transformation to an endomorphism of the Grassmann algebra, okay? So this phi is an endomorphism of the Grassmann algebra. Okay. And then you have this theorem here, okay? The endomorphism, defined before, is an automorphism of type 4 of the Grassmann algebra, okay? The idea of the proof is this. To show that this endomorphism is of type 4, we have to show that this automorphism has OR2 and first is this, okay? This automorphism has to be OR2. Let's go. We take this endomorphism and you calculated phi square here. We developed this expression and you get this in the right, okay? To show that phi has OR2 is enough to show that blue plus red is equal to 0, right? I apply here phi and W and I get this expression in the right here, okay? we have the product of this epsilon, and you have W here, okay? But the product of this epsilon here, by the previous lemma, is exactly minus epsilon I. So we can show from this that red is equal to minus blue. So phi square applied in E is equal to E. It means that this automorphism has odd 2. Now it remains to show that this automorphism is of type 4. Okay. To show this, we take a vector V in the vector space L, and you write V like this. Okay. We assume that V is stable under the automorphism. That is, the automorphism applied in V is V or minus V. We develop this expression in the left, in the right, and you can compare the length of the Pesser in this expression, and you get this linear combination equal to 0. But these monomial W are linear independent. Then this implies it scalar is 0. Then V is 0. It means that this automorphism has odd 2, and it is an automorphism of type 4. So there exists automorphism of type 4. One example is this automorphism phi, okay? This construction is due to Alexander Grishkov. But what you can say about the graded identity related to this automorphism of type 4? But, well, in the first moment, you just can say that the identity of the superalgebra is not equal to the identity of the natural equal gradient, because if you have PI equivalence with the natural equal gradient, it implies the automorphism cannot be of type 2 or type 4, okay? So in the first moment, we just can say that this identity for the superalgebra, for the new superalgebra, cannot be equal to the identity of the natural equal gradient. But we improve this investigation by means of this theorem here, okay? The superalgebra A phi of type 4 is isomorphic to the superalgebra E infinity, which is an example of homogeneous gradient, okay? So you get an automorphism of type 4, we induce a superalgebra, and you were able to show that this new superalgebra is isomorphic to some familiar superalgebra, E infinity, sorry, okay? And then it was noted in the case of automorphism of type 2, type 3, and type 4. All these structures that you constructed were isomorphic to some structure of type 1. Then a natural question arises, is this: is every Z2 gradient on the Grassmann algebra isomorphic to some homogeneous structure? Well, this is an open problem. This is an open problem. We don't have the answer for this question till now. But if it's true, it would be a nice result of classification of the superalgebra structure on the Grassmann algebra, right? On the other hand, if it's false, it means that there are some superalgebra structure on the Grassmann algebra lost in some place. You don't know yet. Okay, this is an open problem. I think this can motivate future research about this topic. Okay. Okay, I have the reference of this presentation, this talk here. Okay, the paper by Di Vincenzo da Silva is an important paper about this topic. We have the paper by Makalimanov, which gives a complete classification for the automorphism of the finite dimensional Grassmann algebra. Or the classical reference here. I would like to thank you for the opportunity. This is all. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So let's thank the speaker, if you want. Okay. Thank you very much.
I have a question, if it is possible.
Yeah.
Do you know about local nilpotent derivations of these Grassmann algebras? I mean, with infinite dimensional, of course. I mean.
About derivation?
Yeah, local nilpotent derivations, because they help we construct automorphism, right?
Right. Well, I didn't study derivation of this algebra, but in the last month, Vincenzo Nardosa presented results related to this. Yeah? In this seminar here.
I don't know.
Yeah, in June, I think.
But if for classification of automorphism in finite case, I think they use these local nilpotent derivations, right? Then they construct some automorphism.
Yeah,
So,
right. Yeah,
I was
right.
wondering what happens in this case.
Okay.
Also, another question for type, did you fix the basis or no? I
In
mean,
the
it
first,
depends.
in type 1, the
It
base
depends
is
on
fixed,
basis.
type 2 and type 3, but in type 4, the base is free. Okay?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Some more questions? Well, if no more questions, let's thank the speaker again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we will meet in the next session of the seminar. So bye.
Bye. Bye.